Good morning, good morning. It's morning here anyway. Don't know where it is where you are. Not a wizard. How was I supposed to know that? So, I've done a couple of videos already that look at a broad overview and then look at in detail at the effects, the clusters, the risers. This time we're looking at the non-effects half of the library, which is tonal, pulses and percussion. So let's get straight on with it and listen to a horns crescendo. Just in case you're completely new, I won't repeat this endlessly, but this is a sync patch, which means that if I start the door, that it's set to resolve on the downbeat of the next bar. So it does it by picking the most appropriate of many different samples and time stretching a bit. You can go under the hood, you can say whether or not you want Time Machine Pro always or never, or have it choose. Did I say this already? In the other video, I'm looking at effects sections near the beginning, so check that out if you want to see how all that works. I'm just going to be whizzing through the patches now pretty much. I'll try and remember also to... Oh, go back to beats. So now doing it over 4 bars. I'll try and remember to look at a few more of the snapshots, which I sort of forgot to do last time. Let's move on to diminuendo. Still on the horns. This is not a sync patch, but we've got some different lengths for you. That's it. I haven't made this library. They, ProjectSAM, have made it. They've kindly sent it to me to have my wicked way with it and show you the good, the bad, the anything I can find. So that's the shortest diminuendo. Then there's a longer one that ends there, and a very short one. No, sorry, very long one here. Okie doke. And then there's a few more variations. The sforzando. Am I saying that right? Something like that. That's a very nice punchy end, isn't it? And we're back on a sync patch now. So again, let's just give you one more little example. 3, 4, 1, 4. Hit that on the second beat, but it works pretty much anywhere. I'll hear it on the 4th beat. You said pressing on the 3rd. There we are. So it works really well even at those incredibly short lengths, doesn't it? Let's move on to a swell, which, well, you've got the idea by now. All these appear in different places, and then that flash, the peak intensity, is on the downbeat if you do that trick again. Alright, one more short one, because this is quite a long one. Let's see how it copes with short here. 1, 2. Still very clean. Then we have a few more sort of basic patches. We've got some rips here. And we have 2 lengths. This is the longer length. And the shorter length. Jazzy and short. Okay. Actually, while we're here, let's just very quickly listen to the close. If you're going, oh, that's quite wet, you know, and it is. On those close ones, you can if you're listening on headphones particularly, or you've got very good monitoring, you'll hear that panning very clearly between the right across the width, from low to high. There we go. So that's what the close sounds like. I'll go through it all in more detail in another video. Just thought I'd give you a quick reminder there. Really replace? Yes, please. This trills. Just short little trills. I think they've done trills. They've done rips, I'm sure, as well in one of the other ones. So this kind of fleshes out some ground that they've covered before, I guess. But Certainly the dynamics and the sync there are new, and it's, you know, it's always nice to have new variations, isn't it? Low ensemble burst. Now here we've got CC1, so I've got my foot pedal on. That doesn't sound nice when I release, so for this, because there isn't, it's not a sync patch, either you're having to play a trick with reverb or wait till the end, really. You're a bit more limited with this. And it's not time stretching either. Probably it's best for a Brahms, isn't it? Let it do its thing. How low can you go? Low, good lord. Hooray! Okay, dynamic crescendo. So we've got another quick run of dynamics here on low brass. And here we have a trick, because we have, I think this will be, yeah. So we've got the sustain on the right, as it tells us. And then you can crossfade by simply pressing the appropriate key in the blue zone. And again, there I kind of pressed it quietly so it wasn't a big crescendo. If I whack it, you can do it like so. That's a sync patch. Diminuendo looks like it isn't a sync patch, but we have different lengths. That's right. So as it was with the horns. Where can I change my key switches? Here. Oh, God, I've got to press another button on the keyboard here. Down there. God, that's low. Okay. It's gone off me 88 notes. That's a longer one. And the super. There we go. Sforzando variation. And again we have the sustain. Might do the other way around. If you needed a longer tail at the end after the it reaches the peak at the end of Sforzando, and the swell version here. You get the idea. And obviously by having these very similar, that's very good for when you're layering things, when you're building up whole sections, you can find the same articulations in each thing. Low ensemble wide. This with wide, I believe, refers to the stereo width rather than the orchestration. Oh, it is the orchestration, isn't it? Let's just have a quick compare here. So this is low ensemble wide. Wumph versus the regular low ensemble. There it is the orchestration. I was totally wrong, I forgot. I'm so sorry, I forgot. So these are all orchestrated in octaves. The wide, it sounds to me, a different ensemble makeup. We'll whiz through these because I'm sure you're getting the idea by now of the tone of it. Having said they're all the same, I don't think you do have the short variations there in diminuendo. You just have the one length. Sforzando. That has some impact, doesn't it? Wowzers. Awesome and swell. Awesome and swell. Did I skip the shorts last time? Did you yell at me? And I ignored you? I don't remember the shorts, so I'm going to whiz back now and hear the difference between the low ensemble and low ensemble wide. If I did skip that, I'm sorry. It's my age. And the longer version. Versus, with all apologies to the poor regular short patch. You actually have one longer. 3 different lengths there. I think when you go that low, it's hard to get the bite into it, isn't it? The bite that we so often desire from our short, low brass. So compare it with that. Because it's orchestrated with a higher component in it, they cut through more. Right, something totally different. And for this, I'm going to remove my hoodie because it's getting a little warm in here. If you'd like to join me by removing one article of clothing, that's not a road I want to go down on this. Right, okay, glissando. Oh, glissando. Left is minor, right is major. If you press it hard, or was it which way around is it? No. I'm pressing it quietly, so I've got up. And that's down. And so rather than being tonal, this lots of different variations of glissandos. Now here, I think this is probably mixed. It sounds distant to me, but I think that's, if you hear it in context, that's probably how you want it in an effects context. But of course, if you're going, I want to hear it with much more definition. That's what the close sounds like. That's a major. C-A. Close A sim mic. I don't know what that stands for. It's got a nice mic position though, isn't it? There's not as much definition as with this, where it's very clear and you feel right up next to the strings, but it's... There you go, anyway. Stage. It's way back. Sorry, I'm talking too much. And wide. That is super wide. It's making the S meter go crazy. So you might want... Let's just try that, say. It's quite nice, isn't it? And look, we've got the flashy thing. So, again, I've got a lot of glissandos like this, but they're often a pain to use. In this world, it should be a joy. Listen to that. Never gets old. Very nice. And now, so we are in different territory here, aren't we? We've had a harp, now we've got a piano. One of those low pianos that beloved of old action schools. There's some cluster pianos in the other video, and this is just a straight... Let's play you through some dynamics. How high does it go? And then you're out. So it's obviously for supporting those low lines. Sorry. And they're all short, as you can hear. So yeah, it's obviously not intended to be a comprehensive piano, but it's designed for a specific purpose, which it does well. Ah, look, we're onto some strings. It's nice, isn't it? And starting with the ever popular Colegno. Again, my pronunciation might be wrong. Colegno. Dynamic range there. And for this I will again just indulge me a little. I only meant to do one. For all that definition, but if you want more low end, go to one of the others probably. If you really need those snaps in your face, you've got that. Beautiful thing. Now we go to some low string dynamics, which will be basses and cellos. Dynamic control set to velocity. There's no point in having CC1 or something like this, is there really? Because the dynamics are all obviously within the sound itself. So that's a low dynamic. That's a higher one where it cuts through more. It's a sync patch, so you know the drill. Close. Stage. Far. And wide. Okay, so that gives you a broad view of that. And now we have same options that we had with the other one. We'll start with diminuendo, which is a non-sync patch. Have these different lengths to play with. Obviously good for ending a phrase. Sforzando, so I will expect something to start aggressively and then build up again. It does, and we're back with a sync patch here. Let's go super low. A little click there. One of these 6.11 problems. And a swell. Oops, not ready. Cool. Glissando. I demoed the mid strings because there's loads more here. Oh, look at it all. I demoed the mid strings of this, and I'm a big fan of these glissando patches. On CC1, that's going up, now going down. Minor second, major second was the one I've just played before that. Minor third. This patch sounds quiet, doesn't it? Let's turn it up. Tritone. 3 notes is definitely one, probably two too many. Almost get away with 2. Obviously these are sync patches, so I'll just do 1. You all yelled at me, didn't you? Now it'll work. 1, 2. That is a thing of beauty. Pizzicato. Want to hear more close? Yeah? You wanna? Goes up as far as the E2. Again, the main mix there might be a little too diffuse for my liking, but that's what you got all these for. Incidentally, what I would really like them to do at some point, and I don't know if it'll ever be possible, is to release versions that are just the main mix that you can have as an option for a light install on a laptop or something. Most of the time I stick to main mix. There's only a few patches where I go, oh, I need to hear that a bit more clearly, because I think if you're going with the Symphobia sound, why on earth do you want to make it something it isn't? It's not appropriate to use it in a dry scenario. It's a sort of a Frankenstein making it something it isn't. But sometimes, of course, you do need a bit of variety. Essentially, I'm saying that for just the main mics, which would reduce the install to about 15 gig if they did that, that might be very handy for when space is a bit tight on a MacBook with their MacBook space pricing strategies. It's got a lovely bite to that, hasn't it? It's only a little bit longer. It's a nice different variation in tone, isn't it? Fab. And now we have a few mid patches. Chord textures. That's new. We haven't heard that before. What's chord textures? So you've got a crossfade control here. So that they've described as open. Is that just octaves? Or am I imagining a fifth in there? There's your sus2 and a sus4. Shame there's no releases on that. I've got to do my reverb trick to end that, because it's a lovely texture. I'd have thought they could have done release triggers on this one, Well, there is on that. Oh, the reverb's down, and that's... So you've got release triggers on the open, but not on the sus2. And the sus4, well, that is a bit odd. Maybe that's a fix in the next version. But that, yeah, that's a bit strange that the release triggers don't seem to work on there. Because I was surprised when they didn't happen, because it's such a wash you can get away with a release trigger. It's only when a patch is very dynamic and changes a lot within it that release triggers are never going to work. We have more Col Legno. Oh, that's a bouncy one. Oh, yeah, I remember. So, low velocities are regular Col Legno. And bouncy, bouncy when you whack it. And just to compare that, because I don't think we had bouncy, bouncy on the low. No, we didn't. So it's a different sort of patch, really, isn't it? Where was I? I've lost myself. Col Legno. Well, actually, I've done that, really, haven't I? So let's go to the mid glissando. This one I went through in the intro video because I love it. And you have the major and minor second. It's the minor one, and you go down on CC1. Me, is it Mika Levy? I'm pronouncing a name wrong. Composer who does quite a lot of these big swooping chord things in a film about Jackie. I like you on the major chord, actually. Let's do another major chord. Or this tritone business. It's a beautiful patch, that. Right. Fancy a burst? Fancy a burst, do we? Okay, let's burst together, shall we? Told you. Layers of Grand Cassa and Timp. And you have aerodynamic. Obviously, those Timps only come in, and the Grand Cassas come in at the higher level. This is whole orchestra, as I'm sure you've read and heard. So we have some dynamics for the whole orchestra too, when it loads. Look at that, we've got cymbals now. And that's doing a roll, not just a bam on the hit. That's doing a roll that's all synced. Come on, let's do it one more time. Very handy. And here we have our sustains that go. You can join in with that. That's awesome. All there in one patch. That's in downbeat mode, not running the door. And I think probably if you turn the beats right down... Oh, I can't go to 0. You'd just use a short patch if you wanted to do that, wouldn't you? Why would you do that? Seconds, the different lengths they recorded. It sounds weird. That sounds strange, not in their sync mode, doesn't it? The timing is all off between the sections. I wonder why that is. All along in sync mode, it's brilliant, but something odd about the off mode there. What does Q do? Quantize to next beat. Oh, right, okay, yeah. Yeah, I haven't actually explored that, have I? So if we go on, if I just hit off the beat, it won't be hard for me. So that's nice. If you're just a rubbish player like me, that will get you on a beat. Whereas if I hit it just off a beat, it will end just off a beat. So you've got those two modes. Okay. A full orchestra playing diminuendo. And again, low. And you've got sustains to play with. You'd probably put it on the end of this one, wouldn't you? So, where am I? Different lengths. Shortsando, you can probably guess how this is going to sound, and I'm sure you'll be right. Oh, the only thing about that is a bit of a shame. I want to hear another roll leading up to the last beat. But those percussion layers are only for that first impact. And you've got sustain layer 2. Here's the swell. No percussion as part of that. A little bit Inception in it. So you might be able to mock up if I wanted to do a Schwarzando. You can mock out with a short patch here at the start, and then layer. Should we try it? Why don't we try it? Yeah, that one. I haven't tried this before. This is all new. The excitement of it. So if I now go here to change this to the same MIDI channel. So the idea here is I'm going to make a fake Schwarzando and see if it works with our rolls at the end. Come on! Just sounds brilliant. So it's not a hardship, is it? It's not very hard to kind of make it do what you want, to bend it to your will. I didn't finish going through all the different options of short, so I'll quickly whiz back. This is using the new widescreen mode that Contact 6 can do. Was it 6 that it came in? I'm not sure that's 2 or 3 dynamic layers. 2, I think, and it's using some volume shaping too. So you've got those really good blasts. Winds. It's been a while, isn't it? It's been a long while since I've heard some winds. Grace notes. On velocity, it goes up or down. Obviously, it's very tight together. And we have regular shorts as well. Have a few variations for this, do we? No, just the one. So that's just there if you need to add a, you know, a little element into some of the blasts or what have you. That's all. No, that's, gosh, I'm going mad. There's the crescendos and all that lot of the dynamics too. So it's a, you know, it's a reasonable thing. Those are just highs. I see there's lows coming up as well. I'm starting to forget as I go further into the library. See, I'm holding the sustain there now. Sync patch. I don't need to demo that again. Diminuendo. In different speeds. Which I'm not playing. There. And you can sustain again on this. I tend to find that you can get away with sustain patches playing notes like that in the low register a lot more than the high. In the high you really need legato, but sometimes in the low you can get away with the sustain patch a bit more. Schwarzando. Alrighty, and the swell. Come on. And just a short patch in the lows as well. Couple of links for you. Right, who's still with me? Let me hear you say, I am. Pulses. Here's some new excitement for you. So all of these are essentially, they're not name sync, but they do all sync, obviously. Right, so where are we here? This is trombone cluster pulses. Crescendo, staccato. So again, this isn't a tonal thing as I'm playing. They're going through clusters, different variations. And what's the difference in blue and yellow with this? Oh yeah, it's the end. Or so you can go if you want. They come into their own on the real constant repetition ones, those where you've just got the shorts. It's very nice to have the same, each one is the same orchestration, so you've just got that extra flexibility. You know, you can do all that. And with different lengths to, where are we? So that's 3. It was half a bar. This is a full bar. I say that they're synced. They haven't got the adaptive sync, but they obviously, that's the host tempo. So if I go, they do adjust sync to host tempo. And then this one will be longer again. They're great. They're great. So that's cluster staccato, and this is the ones that go on forever. So you've got crossfade CC1. And so, yeah, when I release it sounds horrible, but that's where you would want to end it with, end it like that. So there you go, that's neat. And it's nice having CC1 not affect the shorts. That's key velocity, it's exactly how you want it. So you can set CC1 low for and they blat over the top. Very handy that. And the triplet, as I mentioned before, that's triplet. You hold it down for triplet. If you just let go, it, yeah, what's the word? Momentary, not latching. There we go. Reaching for words to describe things. Muted trumpets now. Same deal, and you have the different lengths again. Beautiful. Muted still. Regular crescendo. Really sure why that's in the pulses section, are you? What am I missing? Don't think it's a pulse, really, is it? I don't think it's a pulse. It's nice, it's good, but you might look in the wrong section for that one. Whoa, I've skipped one. Muted repetitions. So you'll probably know what's coming. There's a little hiccup as you go between the two. Yeah, it's a shame that just that little hiccups. It sounds like the crossfade timing between the two. Maybe that's one for a tweak. Depending on what your mix is, you might well get away with it and exactly what you're transitioning from what to where. Cool. And those were all the muted variations. These are the open of much the same thing. So. No need to go through all the different variations there. I'm just showing you what the tone difference is. And the repetition. Not hearing as much variation as I like now. That sounds more like just a volume shaping thing, but still, rather that than nothing. Strings, cluster pulses strings. So again, we sort of heard a bit of this in the intro. Mid-string, sorry. Going down, going up's great. I hear a bit of Time Machine Pro going on there. Definitely nice dynamic layer there. You can hit more than one. Oh, nicely Bernard Herrmann, isn't it? And again, you've got the ends. So you can end neatly. Beautiful stuff. Same sort of idea with the winds. Definitely two layers there, aren't there? In fact, it's orchestrated differently. Piccolos come in the high one. Oh, interesting. So it crossfades between the low and high orchestration from them both. Keep it in the middle. Got overblown stuff going on there in the high. It's nice. Yeah. I haven't done this yet, have I? Now we're into fairly extreme, but that's a huge difference. That's amazingly good, really. I should say, by the way, they said one thing, because I haven't used it in a full composition yet, because this is brand new. They said the one thing you want to watch at the moment in this version are tempo changes on downbeats, things like that. It might not do exactly what you want, and I think they said they're sort of still working on that. Sig changes, well, I think it's sig changes more than tempo changes, sorry. That's where you can see how that could start to get confusing depending on what you're going from and to, and if you change it somewhere in the middle, and yeah. And in those cases, when you're you might want to go to, for the appropriate patches, go to a beats rather than a downbeat thing. I don't know why I'm talking about that now, but it's just occurred to me. Tonal pulses rather than cluster pulses. There's the foot pedal for CC1. Definition. It's really nice. Just want straight shorts there now to end it and accent it. That's the low and then the mid. Slightly curious we don't have highs in this, isn't it? Maybe that would be too orally intrusive, I don't know. Would like them though, can't deny it. I'll do the range. See, if you play, it doesn't, that's not, although it says Q, if I play out of time, it will go out of time. I'd quite like a sort of a more brutal quantizing where it would just ignore my sloppiness. As it is, I've got to play it properly. What do they want from me? It's talent? Percussion. Hits and rolls. This one I think I played in the intro video. So let's just quickly go through the common ideas here. You've got dynamics on velocity. You've got soft dynamics here. So you want to play a... You've got the two keys there. Long hit, dampened hit, so the decay versus you hear all that ringing out if you just want it tight. And then these yellow ones at the top, they go low dynamics here, and then they get louder the more you go up. So whatever way you prefer to play, I think I'd stick on these. And you've got the rolls there. Change the downbeat. That's my radiator, that clacking sound you can hear. It's nothing to do with Pandora. They have no radiator patches. What were they thinking? So let's just quickly see what these other variations are. Only hits, I think, is pretty much what you'd expect would be only the hits. And only the rolls. I won't go through all of these in the other patches because that's boring for everyone, isn't it? But you just know they're there. If you, for whatever reason, you need them separate, or there you go. Cymbal ensemble. That's very SE. Classic scraping horror territory. These are all bowed in this section. Straightforward patch. I mean, you can reverse it and all that, even in the straightforward patches, can't you? Yeah, fun. Oh, and the hits. One velocity. There's a nice range of damped hits, actually. Often cymbals can get really irritating, can't they? We just need a little something that won't outstay its welcome. Hits and rolls. This is a different patch, so yes, absolutely we'll listen to this. That was just a sort of an additional thing, wasn't it? Okay. So that one we were damped at the end. That one's letting ring. It's telling you. I'm pointing at the screen. Can't you see me pointing? Or hitting on the downbeat. Or whatever measure you want to do it. So you've got the hits here. All the hits. And then you've got only hits, only rolls. Very nice indeed. ProjectSAM have always been very good at their percussion, haven't they? Just the sound of it. Grandcasser, hard mallet, hits and rolls. Okay. Big old drum. You come here for my expert knowledge, don't you? Well, boys and girls, the Grandcasser is a big old drum. go and have lunch. Ah, I love sticks. I love creating rhythms with that kind of stuff. So you've got your soft and your loud, and you've got all the other ways of playing it there, and the rolls. Very nice. Only hits, only rolls. You'll forgive me for not. Those are hard mallets, and now it's soft mallet. Same basic arrangement. All these are these sync patches, which are golden. That's great. Just switch back so you can hear the difference between the beaters. This is the hard beaters. In a minute. Load. Versus, and that's do. Versus the soft here. Versus the soft here. Okay, so it's just that real transient almost, isn't it? That sounds different between the two. Only hits, only rolls. Let's move on. Look at the time. Tam Tam. The Tam Tam, boys and girls, is a big old gong. Have some more lunch. Great. Small or large, they sound tremendous. Beautiful. So you've got the options there to let ring or damp, only hits, only rolls. Timpani effects collection. This will be a rag bag bunch of stuff, I think. Got normal hits down the bottom. Okay. Right, here's your effects. Looks like they've left a toolbox on it. Oh, blimey. Is anyone else in your house yelling at you now? What are you listening to? Just turn it down. Oh, now we're talking. Using the so many libraries you don't get on the pedal with the timp. Very quiet, aren't they? We have turned it down. That's nice. I love that with the creaks and everything. It's great. Oh, the rubbing thing. Sound like monsters. These are very quiet. on earth is our timpani? It's like a cymbal. How are they playing that? Brilliant, ominous stuff, isn't it? Lovely. Now, we have two sorts of rolls here. We've got effects rolls and hits and rolls. So this is effects rolls. Oh yeah, remember that sound? Right, cymbal on timpani, not a toolbox. And then your normal hits and rolls patch, which I think will look and feel like the other ones, only with timpani rather than, you know, grand casas or what have you. So you have the roll. I think you've got two lots of, so you can play. That's very playable. Rolls down the bottom, you're syncing, you're doing all the clever sync bits. Only hits, only rolls. Sus roll. A roll that goes on. Ah, come on guys, you missed a trick. I really want a bam. So you want to start with a bam and a roll that goes on forever. I want some single hits on that patch, please. So I can go bam! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Guy again. And then it will all end in nothing. Tom's ensemble. Hits and rolls, so we've got the same setup as the others. Dampened. Rung out. Flam. Rim. Solo tom. Oh, right, solo. You can effectively play like that. Okay. Beautiful. Only hits, only rolls. Tutti percussion. So this is the works. By the looks of things, you ready for the works? Crikey. So this whole lot is damp. Many variations, the whole patch is a damp patch. No sniggering at the back. We're just rolling up, aren't we? Of course we are. We'll figure it out in the end. And so you can, you know, tonally make that match whatever else you want to do. And this is the non-damp variation, or let ring. Holy moly. All drums, so I'm guessing we're not going to have the cymbals in this, but otherwise it will sound much the same. Right, so we've got hits here. Hitting everything at once, which is my kind of thing. Three or four dynamics there. Ring, not ring. And if you want, there's a version here which just has the rolls in it. Oh, sorry, I'm being an idiot because we don't have a combined one here, do we? So you've got hits on one and rolls on the other. That's the way it goes. Because it's tonal, because of the timps. Timps and Gran Casa rolls. Rolls dampened. Oh, with cymbal as well. Timps, Gran Casa cymbals. Yeah, okay. Very nice. So they're leaving the thunderous, you know, Gran Casa off that, and then rolls ring. And there we are. That is the end of that little video. Not so little, really. Please write to me for your t-shirt. I made it all the way through Guy's videos without skipping anything. But if you have, it's because, you know, it sounds fantastic. It just expands Symphobia that bit more, doesn't it? It's there's things in here that you're not really going to get anywhere else. I think it is. So I guess it's a specialised library. It's a bit niche. It's one that I think is particularly going to be attractive to people working to picture rather than other things, because all this business of hit points and that is a sort of bane of your life if you do. But it's, you know, I mean, there's bits in there for absolutely everyone. There we go. Right, that's enough of me for now, and then the final video will be looking at the Maltese combo section. All right, thanks everyone. See ya.